like a Hellcat. Like a Hellcat.
It's a little bit better. It is a stunner from Fabio Quagliarella. It's on again for Jacko. Put in for Robert and scores.
Ciao ragazzi, and welcome to another edition of Serie Sitdown, World Football Index's podcast of Calcio, told like it is. I'm Frank Crivello. He's Richard Carmen. Ciao, Richard.
Ciao, Frank. How are we doing tonight?
We're doing great. Gilia Patate in the house. Good to see you.
Hey.
Doing all right, man. We got a lot to talk about.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the game's going to have to take a back burner. There's so much to talk about. So, yeah, man, giddy up.
We warned everybody. We might talk about the games. You never know.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, boy, we've got a few things that we'll talk about a little bit further down here in the podcast. We will give our take on what we saw with the Mercato closing. Gianni Delicoli, ciao. We will also break down the fortunes of the teams that are playing in the European competitions. Mancini's called up Azzurri, and of course the ever growing, ever popular Who Won Calcio Twitter at the end of the podcast. It's turning into everybody's favorite segment of any Calcio podcast. So we're proud to have we're proud to be the host of that. So
yeah, absolutely.
But let's begin with the elephant in the room. And that was Napoli and Juventus, or Juventus and Napoli, as it were, because it was supposed to be at the J. Chat, by the way, send us your questions. And also, please drop a like on the video. Please subscribe if you are new to the channel. We are pumping out a podcast here each and every week. And what you're seeing here will end up in our recorded podcast. So Johnny is only here for the Who Won Calcio Twitter, to be honest. Why would I want to listen to you guys? Yeah,
Calcio guys in the house.
Well, we got we got a few things to talk about, my friend. That the Who Won Calcio Twitter is just going to have to wait, and we got to keep people waiting.
We got to build the suspense,
Yeah, we got to build the suspense. But I'll tell you what, we have a ton of entries that we have to go through.
People just reading off the nominations.
People just brought it like crazy. Yeah. So, but let's talk about this Juventus and Napoli. So. I'll turn you loose on this. You break down the information, what happened for everybody. Everybody knows, but let's just recap.
Well, let's go back a week or two before. The game leading up to Genoa versus Napoli. There were some rumors that maybe the Genoa club had some positive tests. Nothing confirmed just yet. They played the game regardless. After the game, it turned out that 14 players and staff had got positive to COVID, tested positive for COVID. Yeah. And so many question, okay, what's going to happen with the next game? I believe the Genoa game got postponed this past weekend. And so many wondered, with so many Napoli players being in close contact with the Genoa players, will the game get suspended? Many people were talking back and forth about, well, why should it get suspended? Because you look at some other cases like Milan and I think Bologna, they had a couple positive tests and the games continued. And so, the game was supposed to be played this weekend. All of a sudden, the district where Napoli plays at, they said there's no travel allowed, and thus Napoli were forced to stay. We weren't allowed to travel. Even though Serie A said, nope, all games are good. We're going to play. We're not going to postpone anything. And so it was a big pissy match between Lega Serie A and the province of Campania. about what's going to happen there. And so Napoli said, "We're not going to come. We can't come. There's no way we can come. If we could, we would, but we can't. Well, there's laws enforced." So they didn't show up. Juventus decided to have some fun on their own, and they put out a lineup. They made this whole production of it. The game is going on as supposed to in their minds. And of course, Napoli didn't show up. And at the time, they give the result of a 3-0 win for Juventus by way of forfeit. I think they even credited all 3 goals of Ronaldo. Who knows? Maybe by penalty. But yeah, since then, Napoli did appeal, so the official result has been taken down. It's considered a postponement until the judge, and I forget the judge's name. He's going to make a decision later this week on whether that 3-0 scoreline is going to stand or it's going to be considered a postponement and rescheduled. So it's a lot of shit going down, Frank. Big time drama here.
Let's unpack this. All right. And first of all, I'm gonna do something here that's a little bit that might be borderline daring to the majority of Calcio fans, and look at this from Juventus's perspective. Now, here's a disclaimer: I don't agree with anything that I'm about to say. I'm just trying to step into Juve's boots here and try to figure it out from their end.
Are you gonna put on your black and white shirt?
No, I can't fit in my son's, so so we won't go there either. But Juventus is looking at this and saying, all right, okay, they're probably looking at this from the perspective of our season started a month late than normal, and we have already a jammed up fixture list as it is. Yep. This game needs to be played now. We don't want to go through the burden of trying to figure out when we're going to play this or where we're going to jam this in later on down the road. Because at the moment, we have to plan as if we're going to go the distance in all of these competitions, Serie A, Coppa Italia, and Champions League, which is laughable because Champions League, they're going to go out in the round of 16. So find time after that, right? But like they normally do, or the quarterfinals or something like that. So that to me would seem to be Juve's ambition to want to proceed the way they did and get the 3-0 win and say, hey, rules and protocols, we all agreed to this. You still have a team that you can field. You should be up here. Now, that's the Juve perspective. That's potentially the Juve perspective. Here's why it's wrong this time. I was listening to Milan Weekly podcast. I was listening to Stevie talking about the situation with the Patriots and the Chiefs because the league, the National Football League, made the decision to say to the Patriots, "Hey, we're going to play this on Monday. You got to play." They had one player that tested positive for COVID, the starting quarterback, but still. But that was a situation where it was one player. They weren't exposed to another team, and they're not in a hotspot community. There was a lot of things that were being checked out in many of the players. So the league, NFL, did the right thing and said, okay, this game goes on. All right, this is a different situation. Napoli is in a territory where apparently it's a hotspot. Okay, and Genoa came away from San Paolo with now 14, 15 cases of COVID. All right, and Napoli now have 2 positives. Yeah. With the potential for more, and their concern, obviously, you had the travel restriction first of all, but then you also have Napoli themselves probably looking at this and saying, okay, we have a lot of negative cases now, but by the time we get up there on Sunday, how about what if half our team is positive, and then what if you run the risk of infecting Juventus? All right, so there's all of this going on, and then you all of a sudden have 3 teams with an outbreak, and you have a metric shit ton of games that all of a sudden have to get rescheduled, or even worse, shut the league down until everybody's tested negative again. So this is a different situation than the rules and protocols, seem to want to be geared toward. That's where I'm falling on this. All right. And sometimes you got to look at rules and protocols, and sometimes you just have to look at common sense. All right. And this is one of those where it's common sense that a team just left Napoli and have 14, 15 COVID cases. Napoli have 2 with the possibility of more. It's common sense that they don't take the trip to Juventus and run the risk of infecting another team and jeopardizing the season very, very early.
Yeah.
That's common sense. But this is Lega Calcio and Lega Serie A. And when has common sense ever entered their head?
Never.
Never
On any kind of topic.
Especially on racism. Jesus.
Yeah. It's funny. Milan Weekly Pod is on the hey, what's up, Steve? He says, how about play the game at the end of the season? Yeah, not a bad idea. Rafa, who's on the Far From Vesuvius podcast, said, guys, I'm shaking my head. I'm physically drained by all this, and I can see why. Yeah. Another Napoli fan, obviously Gianni. He's a Napoli fan. He says he agrees with the Milan Weekly podcast. And George, he's saying, he shut the whole league down for 2 weeks and has every player tested. Just his 2 cents. So, where do I stand on this? This is difficult. Difficult in a sense that I'm conflicted with the teams, but not so much the league. Hear me out. I agree 100% that Napoli were playing in the game with 14 players and coaches that were positive tested after the game, so they're probably they're definitely affected. 2 guys definitely came positive. There's a couple other guys that are still waiting on results. You could be carrying the disease, and you don't want to share with the rest of the league. So it's very dangerous in my opinion. It's very stupid to have that game played.
Yeah.
Also, Lega Calcio, they should be smart enough not to realize this. And obviously, Genoa, the game that just postponed for a very good reason, a team that just played, they should be postponing that game too. The team that they played, Napoli. And I hate that there's a lot of people out there, a lot of Juventini, and maybe not even Juventini, people who hate Napoli. They're saying, "Oh, Napoli is just scared to play Juventus." Have you been watching the games? I mean, the 2 forms of the 2 teams, I think Napoli would be chomping at the bit to play Juventus at the moment. So I don't think that's the thing. Now, a lot of people are mad at Juventus, and this is where I'm going to probably deviate from everyone else. I'm not going to give them the full blame because I think their hands may be tied. The league is telling them the one thing, and if Juventus goes against the league's going to come down on Juventus. So they're going to be like, look, we're told to play, so we're going to play, and hopefully you make the right decision in this. They don't want to kind of wipe their hands clean of this, and that's why so I'm not going to fault Juventus because they're kind of like, what are we going to do? We're told to play, we're going to play, we're home. But I think Lega Calcio is 100% to blame on this. They should have changed this, should have postponed it, whatever. And this 3-0 result better not stand. Whoever this judge is, he better make the right decision because it's a stupid decision if he goes to 3-0 win. Because it's ridiculous. This is a game that's going to be one of the best games of the weekend, more than likely. And to have this result stand, it's BS. So that's why I'm conflicted, because I kind of see where Juventus is coming from in the sense that they don't want to stick their necks out and get in trouble with the league, but the league is for sure 100% to blame on this, and they need to. Like you said, they've never really, took the right stance on anything in history. Why are they going to start now? Obviously, there's a shambolic organization.
Agnelli is Satan, and the league has different rules for Juventus than everybody else. This is why these are okay. Listen to me.
I'm not going to
listen to me. These are some of the unwritten things, or the things that when I gave my predictions for Serie A this season, okay. These are the unwritten examples of why, and untold examples of why I think they win this league by 8 to 10 points. Now, I never imagined a situation like this turning up. Okay?
Yeah. But
look, Lega Calcio are going to go out of their way and take whatever role they can to make sure, and Juve are going to say I'm crying foul and all this other stuff. You know what? Screw you. All right? They're going to go out of their way to get Juventus this 10th title in a row. They want to be able to stick their chest out and say, hey, we have our signature team won 10 titles in a row. Now, here's where I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in Juventus. I don't think that Juventus is really lily white in this situation, to some of you, all you guys. Juventus could have stepped up in this situation. Agnelli could have stepped up in this situation, and they could have scored cool points with everybody who supports Calcio and say, listen, 100%. We are sensitive to this situation. We appreciate what they're going through. No, we need to figure out how to reschedule this game, and that's what that's what we ought to do.
And I think to your point, we saw this with some of the racism stuff earlier last year, where a couple teams did stand up. Roma, Milan, I think Inter as well, and a couple other ones. They stood up, and I think this would have been a perfect opportunity, like you said, for Juventus to stand up and be like, you know what? No, this is wrong. let's postpone this game. Let's think about safety more than anything else. I agree. I do agree about that.
Yeah, it's and that's what it was. And Juventus could have taken a human step, and probably would have earned a lot of respect from Calcio supporters who don't support them.
Yeah,
and say, hey, thank you for doing the right thing here.
And Rafa's got a great point. I mean, do Juve follow all the rules? No, they don't.
Hell no. There's a different set of rules for them than there are for all the other 19 teams. And any Juventino that comes on here, or any other Juventino that goes on Twitter, here's the other thing about Twitter. Twitter is a reaffirmation that I'm intelligent and I got a very good education. All right? Some of the shit that I read, I feel my brain's just oozing out of my ears and through my nostrils. Honestly. Honestly. I've got an 8-year-old son, and I think this is well documented on social media. I've got an 8-year-old son who's a Juventus fan and said to me, Daddy, I don't want to win like that. If I win something, when I win something, I want to feel like I earned it. Okay? I mean, an 8-year-old kid, and I'm trying, I'm humbly bragging, okay, but is exercising more common sense than grown adults who are paid to exercise common sense. All right. It's just it's a shame. This is an obsession with going to win 10 in a row. You know what? Agnelli, Satan, go and form your elite EuroLeague and go be in it and go and get your ass kicked every week.
Yeah.
All right, seriously, because that's what's going to happen if you have this dream of forming this elite EuroLeague. You're going to get a lot of money, but your team is going to get the shit kicked out of them because they can't compete with anybody in Europe. You want to go do an elite EuroLeague with Bayern Munich and Barcelona and Real Madrid and Manchester City and Liverpool? You can't even beat Lyon.
Oh, by the way, Atalanta would be in that group. I know you're scared of them in Champions League, but they would certainly be in that group too.
I'm not letting Juve off the hook. I think Liga Calcio has to. Liga Calcio, should be responsible. Wow, you guys are smart, loving, and caring fathers. Way to show off. Yeah, hell yeah. My kids are awesome.
You're next, man. Come on, I see it. Come on.
Yeah. So.
It's another bad stain for Serie A if this postponement or this result carries out 3-0. I hope it doesn't. If Serie A is smart or this judge is smart, he's going to say, look, the pandemic is going on. It's still going on. It's not by any stretch over. Obviously, the team that Napoli just played have more than half their team is tested positive. Let's be smart here. It's postponed, done. But we'll see.
Yeah. So it's appealed now, and there's an appeal now, and there's a sporting judge that's involved who's not going to deliver his ruling for a long, long time. So let's pray that this sporting judge has more sense than the decision makers that were involved in this, so that we can get so that the right thing gets done here is all I have to say. I understand that rules and protocols were put into place that all teams agreed upon, but this is a situation that goes beyond probably what everybody else imagined. There was exposures, there is, restrictions, and there is also just trying to pare down the risk of exposing other teams and other players so that we can actually have a season.
So this is interesting. This is kind of breaking for me because I didn't know this. Maybe you did, but Rafa was saying that the ASL in Turin has banned players from leaving Turin, and now Juve are being handed over to prosecutors because Juve players have ignored this and joined their national team. So I didn't know that. That's new for me. So that's even adds to the story about why this game should be considered a postponement and not a 3-0 result for Juventus.
Yep. So. That's just this is where I'm at with it. I mean, for a while I was sitting here thinking, well, I want to be neutral here, but then I thought about it a lot more. I thought about what went on between Napoli and Genoa, and I thought about Genoa coming on and having an outbreak, and we can't rule out the possibility of an outbreak for Napoli, but it sounds like, Rafa, if you can help us because you're very close to the team, or at least to the team news, it doesn't sound like there is going to be an outbreak with Napoli, so that's a good sign. But Napoli were right to take the precautions. Napoli were right to follow the local restrictions that were required, and they should not be getting punished for doing the right thing across the board between what they were restricted to and mitigating the risk of infecting another team.
Yep, agreed.
They should not be punished for that.
I agree. I agree 100%.
And the Milan situation is totally different. They had the Milan situation is totally different. They had Leao positive. They sat him out. Everybody else was negative. They kept playing. Ibra's positive. They sat him out. Everybody else kept playing because they were still negative, and they carried on. There wasn't like a super huge outbreak in Milan. All right. Everyone has tested negative despite a rumor that Romani has it. He does not. Okay. Thanks, Rafa.
Yeah.
But, so Milan carried on playing. They traveled to Ireland. They traveled to Portugal.
And it's different too with, what the league says. The league says, if the players test positive, they have to sit out and the team continue playing. But it doesn't say that about the playing in the games being, affecting infecting other players. It's talking about, if they're in training or something like that and they come up positive, then you sit them out and they're away from the team, blah, blah, blah. So
sure.
A lot of people are trying to defend that argument, towards Juventus. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I mean, you get 14 positive tests from Genoa. That says enough for me to postpone the game. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Common sense.
And they were smart to postpone Torino and Genoa, so that's fine.
Yep.
It's just crazy. But now it's being appealed. Hopefully, Leo was making a rap video. Nice.
He's making a delivery, huh? Like Uncle Sharma says.
Nice. All right. So, let's hope that a sporting judge makes the right decision and does the right thing by all parties involved, and that they just replay this game, or reschedule this game, which is what should have been done in the first place, and common sense should have prevailed. Unfortunately, it didn't. Quick whip through of the other games here, Richard. Okay. Let's get started. What a start for Sassuolo. It was the hapless Crotone, but they beat him 4-1. And if you're going to be a good team, if you're going to be a European contender, you need to lay waste to the teams that are inferior to you. Yeah. That's what they did. Domenico Berardi putting them up 1-0. Simi, he's back in our lives.
Absolutely.
Getting the penalty in the 49th minute. Francesco Caputo, after a VAR reviewed penalty, a handball, it was correct decision. Yep. Making it 2-1. And then a counterattack where this time Caputo stayed on side, making it 3-1 after he was played in by Berardi. And then Manuel Locatelli making it 4-1. So Sassuolo keep on rolling. Genoa, Torino postponed. Udinese, Roma, 1-0. Great goal from Pedro in the 55th minute. Udinese has yet to score a goal in league play through 3 games, and it's not like they have played stalwart defenses either. No. Sunday morning started with Atalanta doing Atalanta things and doing them to Cagliari by 5-2. Luis Muriel opening the scoring. Diego Godin arriving at Cagliari and scoring, making it 1-1. Papu Gomez with another goal of the week candidate. He was the goal of the week last week, and he's in contention this week, making it 2-1. Pasalic making it 3-1. Duvan Zapata with some nice control before finishing to go 4-1 up. Joao Pedro making it 4-2, and then Atalanta just find these guys that nobody else is thinking about, and then they just come out and ball out, and enter Sam Lammers. What a goal.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
5-2. To Atalanta, so they just keep doing it. Why you don't need a good, if you're going to score 4 or 5 goals a game, you don't need a good defense, do you? Nope. That's why I've picked them second. They're top of the table right now, 13 goals in 3 games.
And to be fair, they can play defense when they want. We saw that at the end of the last year. It's just they don't have to right now.
Sure. Just to put that into perspective, they're on pace to score 165 goals this season.
Not too bad. That's not too bad.
That's average. So.
Like 65 goals more than last year, right?
Yeah, just about thereabouts. So crazy. Yeah, Far From Vesuvius. Go and check them out. Go and check out their podcast. They're recording tomorrow, and but keep the volume down if you're listening to it on earphones, or if you're around kids. That's what I would warn and suggest there. So, Benevento 1, Bologna 0. It's Gianluca Lapadula getting on the score sheet there, 66th minute, and the real story is the goalkeeper, 7 big saves in that game. Bologna was all over him. Oh yeah. We predicted that they would go on the road and beat Benevento, and probably would have had it not been for Benevento's keeper. Gianni Dellacoli regarding Atalanta playing their own version of Moneyball. We've talked about that. It has to be some form of advanced stats. Gianni, they buy chance creators. That's what they do. That's when they buy Miranchuk. That's a guy who creates scoring chances. This Lammers can score and he can create chances.
Oh, 18-year-old Traore for 30 million euros. I mean, that's Moneyball.
Yeah. And they sell the guys that they're not going to use, and they go and they get them for to sell Traore for 30 million. That's great. I mean, they have made over the last 3 years, I think I saw this. So they have made 322 million euros off of player sales.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, their academy is fantastic. I mean, it's just producing talent left and right, and their scouting is what Udinese used to be years ago, where they could just scout players that nobody knew of, and then it's developing these fantastic players.
So the money that they're making off of player sales, the recruiting, the way they've got this all put together, this is sustained for much, much longer term success than what we've seen in the last few years, and it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Lazio and Inter was the marquee game, and had it not been for this Juve-Napoli business, we probably would have been in depth on both of these games, but we'll go briefly. Lautaro Martinez putting Inter ahead by 1-0. Sergej Milinkovic-Savic making it 1-1 after a cross from Francesco Acerbi. And then 2 red cards here for slapboxing, basically. Ciro Immobile on Arturo Vidal, and then Stefano Sensi on Patrick.
The diving on both were beautiful, by the way.
Yeah, the theatrics and the baiting on the part of the players that looked like screaming victims were perfect. Really duping this referee, Marco Guida. Why not? Of course,
he had a terrible game.
Yep, he was garbage. Parma getting a win, a much needed win by 1-0. Yasmin Kurtic getting on the score sheet there. Verona had the possession. Parma had the chances. That's really all you need to know about that game. And then Milan 3, Spezia 0. 0-0 at halftime in this one. A totally rotated lineup as some players were maybe trying to be spared after going out Thursday to Portugal and having to go 120 minutes to qualify for the Europa League. And then some substitutions came on. Çalhanoğlu coming on at halftime really changed the dynamic of the game, and it was his free kick, his cross swung in that was that found Leao to make it 1-0. Teo scoring in the 76th, and then Leao getting a brace just 2 minutes after Teo's goal, sealing it off and getting the Rossoneri all 3 points. Really a tale of two halves of that game. Milan ordinary in the first half, certainly more clinical in the second. Unpack those games for me.
The real things that kind of stuck out to me, Sampdoria getting a big win against at Fiorentina. Unexpected for me, I think. Sassuolo doing what they're doing. But I think, the Inter-Lazio matchup was interesting for me. I thought the first half of the match, definitely the first half, Lazio were dominating that game, I thought. And then, they got sucker punched in the mouth by Lautaro Martinez getting a goal there, pretty much against the run of play. And then second half is pretty much the opposite, and it's great to see, Milinkovic-Savic stepping up, becoming a big-time player in a key moment, scoring a big goal in the 55th minute to get the draw on that one. So that was important for Lazio because had they lost that game, they'd be reeling. But fortunately for them, they got some much-needed points there. And then, just overall looking at the table, it's a top four we all expected, right? Atalanta, Milan, Sassuolo, and Inter.
Yeah.
Benevento above Juventus in the table, and Lazio,
well, we kind of did. We're high on Sassuolo this year.
Not that high though.
Well, I had them at seventh. I mean, they'll normalize a little bit, sure. But I mean, it's you're seeing the usual suspects at or around the top of the table. Benevento's a nice story and a nice start to the season, but it's not something that we anticipate is going to last. Verona somehow are up there with 2 wins out of 3 that we thought it was going to be a drop-off for them this season. And so far there's not a whole lot of evidence of that. Now they beat Udinese, who can't score on anybody. And I can't remember where their other win came from. But they did go on. They just lost here to Parma. Yeah. Otherwise they would have had a perfect start to the season. Yeah. So you got Hellas Verona up there. I mean, it's 3 games for everybody right now.
You had Papo Gomez leading the goal scoring chart at the moment, right? For Capocannonieri, 4 goals over Caputo and Galabinov.
Yeah, it's a good start for him. Yeah, Galabinov is keeping Spezia in some games.
Yep.
Caputo's off to a very good start, of course, too. So it's early days. I don't, Papu, I think that goal number won't sustain.
The start going up and the goals will start going back down.
Yep, you'll see more goals from the likes of Zapata and
everyone else.
I mean, but Atalanta, I mean, it's a very interesting take. You can get a guy like Sam Lammers in there and start scoring. I mean, and just plugging guys in that can score goals and create chances. You know, and Miranchuk hasn't seen the pitch yet, and Ilicic is still on the way back. Yeah. I mean, this is scary.
It is. They're going to be giving everyone everywhere headaches, including Europe. So it's just, incredible what they're doing with the whole program. Not just, the starting 11. It's the freaking everyone from the youth academy onward up. All led by Gasparini. Fantastic job there. So Serie A's got their work cut out for them. Not just Juventus. I mean, everyone's got to bring it every week, and you're gonna have to outscore them to win, or play some fantastic defense.
Sassuolo, I think it's impressive, but we'd probably just want to see a little bit more. I mean, a 1-1 draw with Cagliari that they totally dominated, but could only come up with the one goal, and then blew away Spezia and Crotone. And Spezia and Crotone are going to be, relegation strugglers. So, it's an issue of, can Sassuolo bring it against the big teams? Now, after the restart, they did. So it's not out of the question, but that's where the test is going to be, when they're having to play the teams that they're going to be scratching for a European place with, and the teams that they're trying to steal a European place from. That's where the test is going to be for them. I like what I see. I like the stability with them. De Zerbi's doing a hell of a job. The defending has gotten a little bit better. So Sassuolo is doing what we thought they'd do, but it's got to turn up. There's not a quality win yet in there, where Atalanta have a 4-1 win over Lazio.
Yep, exactly.
Anything else from the table, at least, that's jumping out at you early days?
No. It's still early. Crotone doing what they're expecting. Udinese as well. Poor. Yep,
Udinese without a goal yet. In the Spezia game, when you can get them down to 10. And you can't score on, and they're supposed to, they're talked about by everybody to finish dead last in this league, and you can't get goals on them. There's a big problem with them. But a certain transfer is making his way over between Pozzo family owned teams that could help them a little bit. So let's get into the transfers. How do you want to do this? We just kind of say winners and losers here, or how do you want to do it?
Let's talk about some of the big ones that went out. Like start with Juventus. They're the champions, right? Obviously they brought on Arthur. Mandragora is now with them. Morata, they brought in. Chiesa just came in yesterday. Obviously they got Weston McKennie amongst the many. And then, some guys that they got rid of, some dead weight, Marilyn Pjanic, Emre Can. Who else? Christian Romero left, and Matuidi and Higuain. So, and Douglas Costa just left yesterday as well. So,
Douglas Costa is off to Bayern Munich on a loan. Mattia De Sciglio is off to Olympique Lyon on a loan. Luca Pellegrini, they already sent to Genoa on loan. Some guys at Piazza, they still want to keep on the books, and they have him on loan at Genoa. But and Rugani is on loan at Stade Rennais in France. So there's some movement here.
Steve wants us to grade these deals. So if I'm looking at Juventus deal, it's a pretty good deal, I think, overall. What they've done, what they've added. I'm going to give them, if I had to give them a letter grade, I would give them a B+, because they addressed the midfield, which they needed to, with McKennie and Arthur. Morata, it's not that great of a signing for me, and Chiesa, to be determined. He'll either be Bernardeschi or he'll be someone who's better than him.
B+ for me. I'm not a fan of the Morata signing. I like this team. Well, and I guess I'm only going to be a fan of it if he's a guy that's a change of pace or change of shape guy that can be a striker. But I put them at a B+. I know Gazzetta had them as the highest rated, but Gazzetta loved Juve too. So, but I look at the rest of this, and a lot of things got addressed. Now, Federico Chiesa is going to be the interesting one in how they use him. I find him to be, if Pirlo carries on with this 3-5-2 that morphs into a 4-3-3, as somebody was suggesting to me on Twitter, I like him maybe up front with Ronaldo, with no real striker, with no real center forward 9, and those guys just running all over the place and stretching things out. I think Chiesa is also a guy that they bring on because Ronaldo's not going to play there forever. So it eventually becomes something like Chiesa and Kulusevski. So, so we'll see. But yeah, I'd go B+ here for Juventus. Solid.
Go ahead.
Solid, not.
Yeah.
They will put the Swede up top next to CR7 and Federico on the right. The problem, Federico is a wingback. I don't think it works. Because I've seen it at Fiorentina enough to know that maybe it doesn't. But now at Juve, he's got better players to play with. Possibly, okay, it might work, but we'll see. It's going to be interesting. What Pirlo does, he over time with these guys. Let's see how he makes it work.
Yeah. Going over to Inter. The big signing for them is Hakimi. A great signing, I think, by them. Some other guys, Pinamonti, I think, Kolarov, your favorite player there. Arturo Vidal, they brought on a free, and Darmian. I mean, nothing great with those last couple ones. Vidal could be very some good bite in that midfield that they may need, and we've seen already from the first games or so from him. He's everything that they wanted so far. So. Even with some of the dramatics as well. Kolarov is Kolarov. I'm not going to worry about that. But Hakimi was a very good signing by me, I think. They needed some help in the right side. D'Ambrosio is Candreva's Hakimi has already proven pivotal so far early on. I'm going to give them they loaned out like 1 million players, like no joke. They got rid of so many players.
Well, they had to. They
had to, of course. But they did sell Icardi for 55 million euro. That's good money there that they got rid of there. And got some money also from some other players as well. So, what I give Juve a B. I'm gonna give him a B as well, just because I'm high on Hakimi. I think he's gonna do really, really good for them. So, it's a solid. It's solid, I think.
B+, like Juve, and really because of Hakimi, they're out of the A range because of Kolarov. That's really the way I want to. Really want to look at Hairpiece. Wanted everyone from Chelsea. Yeah, he did. But moving on from Icardi, obviously Pinamonti, Caramo. Where I'm worried is he moved on from a lot of young players here. And it looks like this looks like an all-in team that if it doesn't work and he goes, this could potentially set Inter back for a couple of seasons. Because let's look at this. I mean, Stevie, you're Milan through and through. I've got and so am I. But I've got to look at this as a Serie A podcast host.
Another reason why I think they're a B, they kept Skriniar because I think it would be stupid to get rid of him. He's still one of the better defenders. He just plays in a poor system, a 3-man defense that he's not good at. And they kept Nainggolan, which should be good for the depth of the midfield. So I think all those combined will give it a B, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Steve, I'm with you. Conte will leave Inter into shits. I picked them to finish third. I've got Atalanta finishing second to Juve. I think that this is, and third is not going to, and Conte, I could see Conte quitting, and I could see this being a situation like Napoli where they went Scudetto packed, and then what's happened in subsequent seasons, they've dropped further and further and further from the table. So maybe B+ is too much. I'll go B. I'll change my mind on Inter.
And I misread Steve's comment, and I thought he said Conte will leave Inter with the shits, which may happen too.
He'll leave a trail.
He'll leave a trail all the way
for wherever his next job.
Yeah.
Atalanta, I'm going to give a B.
Okay.
Let's see. Take a look at their team. I think that it's Atalanta. They do what they do best. I mean, they're not going to, as far as a Mercato, they're not going to overwhelm you or they're not going to wow you. I really like the Moranchik signing. I wasn't familiar. I wasn't familiar. Yeah, I wasn't familiar with Lammers, and then I see the kid play, and I'm wowed. Romero is really not an answer for a defender. I mean, he's gone everywhere, and he's not proven it. De Pauli is very interesting, coming over on loan from Sampdoria. Obviously, once Sampdoria brought in Candreva, they can't play both of those guys. So, and then Piccini, if he somehow fits into the system. I mean, make no mistake, Hateboer is the right wing back in that team.
Yeah.
But there's some nice depth there, for the wing backs. And this Johan Mojica also coming over from Girona in Spain. So these are all interesting, but I think the B is because of the money that they're making yet again on players. I mean, Amad Diallo, who hardly gets a sniff in this team, and he's going to get
3 games. 3 games he got.
Yeah, he's going to get 30. They're going to get 30 million from Manchester United for him. Castan going to Leicester for 26. They just did very, very good business. So,
and they loaned out 1 million players too from their academy. They loaned out lots of players, which is
I'm just looking at it. This is just it's
I'm
staggering.
I'm giving them a B+ because they sold some players for big money and they weren't their key players at all. And as someone mentioned, Connor Clancy mentioned how people are wowed by Castagne, but he wasn't even a starter for them. It wasn't Hateboer, it wasn't the other guy. I'm losing my mind right now. Gosens, it wasn't him. So imagine what they would think of those players. So the work that the money that they got from them, then I think it's just fantastic on that. And the players they picked up, they're good, they're solid players, but because I think the money that they made off those other 2 players and some of the moves they made, I'm gonna give them a B+.
Lazio gets a C- for me. I can't get with this with these moves. Pereira's decent, but he's a depth guy. He's going to be a depth guy. Mariki, I don't
to be
know.
determined.
Yeah, I mean, Immobile's your guy, and there's guys in front of him. Wesley Hood, you know more about him than I do.
Depth, and he's not as good as he was when he left Lazio originally. So
yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot of splash to what's going on here. Escalante's an interesting player coming over from Eibar.
Yeah. Pereira as well. I'm curious about that one. The loan might help out.
Yep. Ricardo Kishno had some promise as a very young player, but it never stuck, and he's now off to Otto Den Haag.
Yeah.
Valon Berisha never worked out. Now he's in France playing at Reims. Milan Bedell, for some reason they couldn't make him fit, and then obviously they got guys like Lucas and Parolo still there, so he's surplus. Goes to Genoa.
Lukaku's out. Adekanye is out. I was high on Adekanye, but they loaned him out as well. So
right.
Would you say a C? Would you give him a C?
C-. I'm just not wowed.
I'm there with you. Yeah,
I'm not wowed by this. So
I'm there with you. Steve says D.
Yeah. What do you think of Roma?
Roma. It's interesting with them, right? They made a lot of moves. They did get Chris Smalling, which is good. They needed him back there. Yeah, they got Kumbula, they got Mancini, but you need to have him there. Borja Mayoral, they brought him on. Obviously having Pedro on as a free, but still it's a good addition there. They made some money off of Patrick Schick. Made some money off of DeFrel. Cengiz Under will eventually be money, but at the moment it's not any money. And they got rid of Kolarov, which is a plus for sure. But they also got rid of Kluivert as well. So it's a mixed bag for me. Florenzi, they got rid of Florenzi finally. He went over to PSG. Man, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go C+.
Yeah, I'm in that.
Yeah,
I'm in that range. B- C+. Kind of, it's average. It's not. Yeah, they reinforced. They moved on from some people, but nothing that makes me scream top 4.
Yep.
Or anything like that. If anything, like I made predictions. I had Lazio 5th. I had Napoli 6th, Sassuolo 7th, Roma 8th. If I would do anything right now, is I would put Napoli 5th, Roma 6th, and I would drop Lazio to 8th right now with the way I see things unfolding, and still sitting Sassuolo at 7th. I'm a little worried to move Sassuolo any higher up in my predictions, but it's who knows. Milan, B+. They're not in the A range because they didn't address center back, which I think was a position of need. There was talks about possibly Tomiyasu, who would have covered center back and right back. But you can't complain about the haul that they brought in. Sandro Tonali was coveted by the big teams in Italy and in Europe, and then Maldini sneaks in through the back door and gets him once Inter ended their pursuit of him. So you have that going on. Jens Petter Hauge, going to need time to acclimate to Serie A, but a world of potential with him. Salamakers becomes permanent. Tatarusanu, cover for goalkeeping. Brahim Diaz is a talent.
Yep.
And Diogo Dallo, saw a little bit of him when he played at Man United. Definitely upside with him if he can find his feet. But
the bigger news is they got rid of Suso, they got rid of Paquetá, got rid of Silva, Ricardo Rodriguez, Gomez, Bilia. I mean, they got rid of some dead weight. So I'll go with you B+. I do like the B+. Not quite A, because like I said, if they got a center back at the end, then maybe they would have bumped up to A. But a B plus, a strong B plus by them overall, because that dead weight was
Right.
holding them back, I think.
Right. No, I agree.
Ooh, Steve says C plus.
Too many dry loans and risk. Well, he's tougher on his boys than the rest of us. So, but I look at this team and I feel like, you know, well, no Teo backup, that Dallo can potentially deputize on the left from time to time where needed. You know, It's not going to be habitual. It's just going to be, you know, spot starts. But my biggest issue with Milan's Mercato was another center back was needed. No right wing. I think you're going to find
could get there eventually, maybe, but we'll see.
I think you're going to find with time they're going to get happier and happier with Salamakers as he gets more acclimated. Diaz, possibly Holga could probably move over there. There's options.
I would have liked to see him get a backup striker for Ibra. Obviously, the team is not the same when he's not there. Leao got 2 goals this weekend, but he's not. They need someone who can put goals in, you know, consistently. And Rebic, he's good, but he's not a striker. He's a second striker.
Will we make champions with this lineup? Yes, we'll make champions. I picked him to finish 4th.
Yeah, I picked him 4th as well. Yep. But though Napoli is starting to persuade me, I'll tell you that much.
It's going to be, it's going to be Napoli a very, very close 5th to Milan at 4th. So, and if people flip those teams and Milan ended up 5th, you know, I'm not going to pick a fight with people that did that.
Hey, I might put Juventus out of the lineup and put Napoli in top 4. Yep. Hey-o.
Napoli is getting an A minus from me.
Okay.
Osimhen coming on. I'm starting to get more and more convinced, at least through the first couple of games. I want to see more sample size. I want to see it done against some tougher teams. Bakayoko to give him some midfield, but this Mercato is a win because Kalidou Koulibaly is still there.
Yes, 100%. I thought Osimhen played a little poorly against Juventus. I'm just kidding. No, I agree. I think keeping Koulibaly was number 1 for me. Bringing in Osimhen, I really like what Osimhen's brought so far. Linking up with all the guys, all the littles up front. He's done a fantastic job to acclimate to the team. Had a great backheel assist to Zielinski a couple games ago. Bakayoko, that's a huge pickup. We saw what he did for Milan, and he's done well in Serie A, and so I expect that to be a massive pickup for them. Losing Alan, getting some money for that from Everton. Selling Verdi, Inglese, and some other guys, Chiriches. They got some money back, but I think you said the most important thing was Koulibaly, right? Many rumors were that he was going to go to Man City. I even did a video about it, but they kept him, and I think the reason that they kept him and he was able to convince Osimhen to join him, I mean, that's pretty good. And would you say A?
I gave A minus. A. Listen, chat, because you guys are all saying A to some of these teams, and you guys are soft. A for me is Hullet, Rijkaard, and Van Basten.
A pluses.
All right.
I'm gonna say A minus, just because they kept
when you litter a Mercato with studs. Okay, that's and I don't think they got them all in the same window.
The Napoli boys are saying A.
I'm just telling the chat because and the Napoli boys are saying A because that's.
Hey, Steve said B plus, so I mean,
God bless him.
God
bless him. So, but it's an A minus. It's an A minus. I think if I'm being picky, exactly. No one gets an A. No one. It's if you don't come up with.
Didn't he just say? Didn't he say Atalanta got an A earlier? I thought he did. I thought he did.
Steve, you just gave Atalanta an A. Now you're saying exactly no one gets an A.
Here, it's on the screen. A for Atalanta.
There you go. So.
Oh my.
Stevie, believe in Gabbia. Believe in Gabbia.
That's right.
Believe.
Don't start that mess.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, look, Sassuolo, next team.
Okay. Hang on a second. Cashing in on Allen, who they had no intention of using.
27 million euros.
Yeah. Getting 22 million for Simone Verdi. Your boy Inglese, selling him. Rogue selling. Getting paid for. Getting paid for Chiriches, who's going to find his feet at Sassuolo. So, and talk about Sassuolo.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I was watching.
Let us have some happiness. First time we spent the South shall rise again.
Sassuolo, they brought in the Frel. from Roma. That's a good pickup there. Chiriches in defense. They also got Kan Ayan in defense as well. I think those two are probably going to be the pairing going forward. Felipe Romagna has been starting lately, and that's a decent pickup there. So that's the guys that brought in. The guys they got rid of, obviously, they got some money for Sensi. Alfred Duncan, they did sell off to Fiorentina. Paul Irola, they sold to Fiorentina as well. It's okay. It's an okay. I'm going to go... They addressed the defense. The defense is what they really need to help with. They were fun bad before, and with the 3 defenders that they have now, I'm going to give them a C+.
I'm gonna go B-. Yeah, okay. I mean in that range, it's solid. They took care of the needs that they had to take care of. They kept guys like Berardi, Caputo, Locatelli was a huge, he's possible Squadra Finora material. Let's see how these games play out. So keeping that all together for me was important. Hellas Verona, it's a C. I mean, nobody coming in overwhelming, but then nobody coming in. Well, actually,
Temeze could be a decent player for them, I think. But
I like Temeze.
Yeah. Nikola Kalinic, you might lose a grade just for that, I think.
Yeah. Flirting with C- over the Kalinic signing. So
Coley could be a decent pickup for them, I think. And they got Ronaldo Vieira from Sampdoria, who could be something with them. But yeah, I'm with you there. They did get some good money for Kumbula. Well, no, I guess they didn't. They loaned him out with a small amount of fees. So Roma got the best end of that deal. So yeah.
Yeah, Roma should smoke a cigarette for that one. It looks like they're gonna not have to pay a lot for Kumbula. We'll see. I mean, the loan itself is $3 million, and I think they're gonna pay a little bit more when the obligation kicks in. So
Verona gets a D because at Kalinic, Madonna mia.
I'm not fighting that. I'll just say C for now, solid C. Because they do have a couple players in there. That mean Kalinic may never see the pitch.
Yeah, Scott Monroe's probably out there somewhere smoking a cigar right now.
Yep, for sure. Fiorentina, a C-. I can't get with this. But interesting. I mean, they're signing 30-somethings for free. I mean, this just looks like this is the new banter. This is like Milan banter era, but now it's in Florence.
But Bonaventura, he did get an assist in his first game. Callejon could do something for them, possibly. Yeah, I do like Alfred Duncan. I've always been high on him. Paul Irola was really good for Sassuolo as well. And Kouame, we've been high on. So hopefully those 3 can contribute. But they bring in some of the older guys. They did get rid of some guys for money. Veritude officially for 17 million. Simeone, they finally sold to Cagliari, and then Chiesa. I was disappointed by that because it was just a loan with $11 million loan, and I think ultimately it's 50 million. But up front, I mean, there's nothing really up front. So what'd you give them? You give them a C?
C.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
No real wow factor there.
No.
Same with Parma. It's a C. Not wild about this. I mean, they get Inglesi permanently, but they had him last season. They had Carmo last season. Now these are just permanent purchases now.
Yeah.
Looking at some of these other ones,
C-
Mihaila coming over from is Craiova the team that had the sticky on their backs? Is that Craiova?
I don't know. They might have.
That Milan played a few years back in the Europa League.
They might have.
So who knows? But Kulishevsky, which I don't think they were ever going to have a prayer of keeping.
No.
So not wild here.
C- for me.
Yep. So Bologna, I see nothing wild here. I mean, Di Silvestri could possibly provide for them here as a right back going forward. This Aaron Hickey.
Destro.
Yep.
That's a plus.
Got rid of Destro, which is probably got it being a C instead of a D+.
Sent Diego Falcinelli to Red Star Belgrade. C's a decent score. Yeah, that's it. I mean, Di Silvestri is probably the only one that I would rate in this out of anybody they got. So yeah, I'm with you.
What do you think of Udinese?
I mean, they're probably. I guess they lost Mandragora, right? Fofana they sold to, was it Lens? Petzela they sold. Man, it doesn't look good for them.
Now let me ask you this, because I'm showing Mandragora is back on loan from Juve.
So it must have got bought by Juve and sold back to, or loaned back to them or something.
Okay,
I don't know, whatever it is, but C- at best, maybe D+.
You don't think Deulofeu is? This team needs goals, and they need goals to be created, and there's too much of a reliance on Rodrigo de Paul early on in the season. And I think where they, what's glaringly obvious is missing players like Seko Fofana and Ken Sema. Okay, and now you bring Deulofeu, who can be a support striker here that that can run a little bit, that can get in behind and can unlock things and open things up more for Lasagna.
And Hickey Young has great potential, so it could turn out well for them. Deulofeu came from Watford; it's all part of the same family, really. So that's like a wash for me. Even though he will help, I hate those deals he constantly makes. Back and forth between the two clubs or the three clubs, I guess that he has. So
yeah, he's got Roberto Pereira there as well. I mean, this is a team that might survive relegation just because of the way they were constructed, and if they can come together. I watched a little bit of this Thomas Owejan. He looks decent.
Yeah.
As their left wing back. So we'll have to see how that develops with them. What do you say about Cagliari?
Yeah, man. So they got Marco Rogue, which I think is gonna be a good pickup. Simeone, they made it permanent. Who else did they got? Godin, I thought it's gonna help with the defense there. I like those. And Adam Unos came, I think, last minute, I think. So that's a really good deal there.
Yep.
In terms of guys that they lost, Ionita went to Benevento. Farias went to Spezia. Some other guys, I'm gonna give them a C plus.
C plus. I'm with you.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm with you. I like Marin. I like Sotil. These are going to be interesting young players that are going to help them, and Unas as well. So, things look like they've gotten constructed to what EDF wants to do. So we'll see. Sampdoria.
Ugh. I'm going to give him a C minus.
Really?
Maybe generous. The kid Damsgaard could be something special. We'll wait to see with how he adapts to Serie A. But they got rid of some key players. Lenetti, Bonazzoli, Caprari, Vieira, De Paoli, and really didn't bring in anyone. I think. I mean, Keita Balde. We'll see if he has anything left. He's only 25. My goodness, he's only 25.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Antonio Candreva. He's good as a waiter, apparently. Yoshida, he's way past it. I don't know. I'm not really high on Sampdoria, unfortunately.
I'm going to go B minus for Sampdoria. I mean, these players make Sampdoria better. Okay. And that's one of the things you want to do is do these signings make your team better? And we just went through a handful of teams that the signings were meh. Okay.
Yeah.
But Antonio Candreva makes Sampdoria better, and you need a player like that when you've got the forwards that you've got. Keita Balde, if he can regain his form and some of the stuff that he showed when he was at Lazio, Sampdoria have a gem. Adrian Silva still has a little bit left to give, and he's probably an upgrade in that central midfield and that holding midfield over what they had.
Yep.
I don't see them finishing top half or anything like that, but I think they've done appropriate business to make sure that they survive. So I'm going to go B minus for Sampdoria.
Okay. Let's see. Torino. I'm going to give them a B minus.
I am too. I like their window.
Verdi, Lenetti, Voivoda, I think had as a good player. Rodriguez could help him out, even though I'm not really high on him in general. Bonazzoli, we like him. Nicola Muru and Karamoko. So I mean, they got some good pickups there. And they really didn't lose too many guys at Di Silvestri that we mentioned earlier. Iago Falque went to Benevento, but overall, I mean, I do like what they did this window, and hopefully they improved drastically from last year. So
they're a little more solid in midfield with the moves that they made, especially Lenetti, coming along. Verdi permanent now from Napoli. I think that's a decent get. I'm not a fan of them parting with Berenguer, heading to Athletic Bilbao. Would rather they not have parted with Olaina, who is now at Fulham. But are you allowed to get mad? Richard has never, and in all the years I've known Richard,
he saw me shake my head because someone on Gazzetta compared Deulofeu to Baggio. I mean, that's why I was shaking my head. I was like, "What the fuck, man? Come on, that's bullshit. That's bullshit right there." You're
that right there is the maddest Richard ever gets.
This is true. On air, at least.
You should see me get mad. You should have seen me training my son's team tonight. So Smoke was going through my hat.
You play to win the game.
You do.
Well, speaking of playing to win the game, Genoa apparently didn't get that memo. They never get that memo, apparently. So what are you giving them? I don't like their window at all.
If Mattia Boni doesn't start and play every game after the shit heap of defenders we named off that played against Napoli last week, there's a big problem.
Yeah.
They apparently see something in Mattia Destro that the rest of Italy and the rest of all of us don't.
Cisbora, Cyborg from Atalanta, he should get some playing time. Piazza, we'll see if he has anything left. Pellegrini, but they got Destro. I mean, that's a minus right there.
C-. I mean, C- is, and that's being nice. I mean, they're taking their chances with patching this together to make it work. They let Hilliamark go, who I thought was serviceable for them.
I agree.
In midfield. They chose not to re-sign him. I thought that was a mistake. They allowed Corey Gunter to go to Verona, which could end up being a mistake. So we'll see. Letting go of Kwame. This team needs some sort of attacking creativity to them. So going to be very interesting to see what happens here. Benevento.
They're my number one for the whole market. I think I'm giving it A+. Bringing Lapadula, Camille Glick.
Wait, we don't give an A. They sign Reichert and Van Basten?
A, you're right. A. I'll give him an A.
No, not even an A.
Not even A minus.
You can give him an A minus.
A minus. Okay, I'll give him A minus. They're the best for me in the window.
Stevie, where are you?
Yeah, I know, right? Lapadula, Glick, Caprati, Brian Dabo, Ionita, Falke. I mean, these guys already contributed to the team. They played very well together. They did what they had to do to get up to the Serie A level, I think. They brought a bunch of Serie A veterans, guys who are still serviceable. I mean, Lapadula just scored in the last game and got them the game winner. So fantastic work by Benevento, I think.
Yeah, but Richard be Richard. Sorry, Johnny.
Tell him.
If you want to give Benevento an A+, give him an A+. I'm just giving you shit.
They're number one. That's all I'm going to say. They're number one in the market. No one's better than them this market for me.
Johnny, this is the Serie A sit down. I mean, you have got to. I mean, my God, because he said, "My God, you guys grade harder than some of my old professors." This is high. This is where the high standards are. We have high standards.
Is that what we're calling now?
Yeah.
He will eat his panettone. He'll eat his panettone.
He'll be fine.
Yeah, he will.
Yep. I like the way they've put this team has been constructed. Having a creative force in Iago Falque, having midfield solidity and guys like Ionita and Dabo, who are veterans in this league. Lapadula can score goals. Glick can defend. Caprati can score goals. I mean, it was well thought out, and they had a good strategy and put it together. I'll go on a B+ there for Benevento. I won't go into the A range, but solid enough. Crotone's a C for me. Nothing. There's no wow factor to this. I mean, Cigarini's a veteran. Riviere, I think, is with his 13th team in 9 years or something like that.
Yep.
I'm exaggerating. I mean, there's nothing here to get excited about. A team that's going to get relegated. Spezia is. I'll go C+ because they made the effort and they got some decent players. Getting someone like Zoet, who is now hurt, Daniele Verdi, who can provide some creativity and provide some crossing. It's not horrible what they've put together here. Agudelo is a decent player. Mattiello, if he ever can stick, he's there on loan. Good right-sided player, or decent right-sided player. So I'm going to go C+ for Spezia. Not terrible, but not great.
Yep. Winner for me for the market, like I said, Benevento. Fabulous. Making up words now, like Manolas or Fanolas. And the loser for me, even though they didn't have the lowest score, and just to spite Jerry, I'm going to say Lazio. They should have done a lot more than they did.
I'm going to go with Napoli as a winner. It looks like Osimhen is providing a new dynamic for them. Keeping Koulibaly was huge. Yep. So for me, I think Napoli had the best mercato for just those two reasons. And I'm with you. I think that Lazio needed to reinforce a little more smartly than they did. When you look at their, and they're going to tell you that they think they did really well, but when you look at them when you look at them in comparison with the other teams that they're going to be competing with for places in Serie A, they just did not do as well. So
starting 11, they can compete with anybody, but they don't have any depth.
The depth is still a concern, especially with having to play every 3 days.
And there's like 17 of the top 8 teams. They probably have the worst depth out of all of those teams. Even
Johnny, Rafa, I threw you a bone. Steve says Atalanta has to be the winner. I'm going to put him a close. I'm going to put him a close second. Because Rafa and Johnny, I have been tough on Napoli here the last couple of weeks because
he has.
I want to see it against a better team, a Parma team that's going to regress, a Genoa team that, as I said last week, A in my heart, yeah.
They could have proven it this past weekend, but things happen. So
yeah, it would have been great to see this game actually happen. That's why I wanted to see it.
Hopefully
but it was like
hopefully we still get to see it.
Like I said, they played a Genoa team that 11 training codes could have done better. But it's what it is. So that's our winners and losers of the Mercato. We've got some people in the chat. Stevie's saying Atalanta should be. The Napoli guys, of course, are going to say Napoli. So what were your thoughts? Winners and losers of the Mercato in Serie A at Serie A Sitdown or Twitter. On to Europe. UEFA Champions League draw took place. Let's discuss. Hey, leave Canada. What did I say about Canada?
Those Canadians. I don't know. Just go with it. Oh man.
Maybe they just hear random things being said about them. And
Rafa says something.
Oh, Rafa says
I blame Canada. Oh, I got it. I got it.
All right. I thought it was us. So well done, Rafa. Well played. All right, so let's go into where am I going to find these groups? Let's see. Bear with me. Just trying to find the group standings or the draw. Champions League group set. There we go. No, I'm not on dial-up.
Well, I'll give you the groups that at least Serie A teams.
Why don't you break down the Serie A groups?
All right, so in Group B, we have Mönchengladbach, Inter Milan, Real Madrid, Shakhtar Donetsk. In my opinion, that's a tough group there. Moving on from there, Group D, Ajax, Atalanta, Midland, and Liverpool. That's a tough group there, at least with Atalanta, Ajax, and Liverpool. Also Lazio, they got Dortmund, Club Brugge, and Zenit. That's a decent group. And then Juventus have a fairly easy group. They got Barcelona, but then they have Dynamo Kiev, and then it looks like a Greek team. I'm not going to even try to pronounce that name. So
Hungarian.
Okay, I was close.
Ferencváros.
Okay, Gesundheit. Of those 4 groups, I think Juventus has the easiest group out of all of them. Lazio is decent. Zenit, I haven't seen Zenit yet, but Zenit usually puts up a fight. Dortmund they got some firepower on Dortmund. And Club Brugge, they'll pester you for sure. I'm interested to see Ajax, Liverpool, and Atalanta. I mean, that's going to be goal fest in all those games. That's 100% for sure. But I think the toughest group is got to be Gladbach, Inter Milan, Real Madrid, and Donetsk. Donetsk, we know, is always tough. Real Madrid is, one of the best teams, and Mönchengladbach, they have some really good players on their team as well. So yeah, that may be a group of death there. So,
there is a team in the draw that I'll never be able to pronounce. Is what Stevie's saying. Okay.
He knows what's up.
Istanbul Basaksehir here.
Basaksehir here.
Yeah. Or is it Ferencváros?
I think it's Ferencváros.
Ferencváros. All right. Group B, Inter. It's going to be a difficult group, but you built this team to qualify, for groups like this.
Yeah.
And but that trip to the Ukraine at Shakhtar is always tough.
Yep.
Inter did beat them on neutral territory in the Europa League. They're going to have that, to lean on a little bit here. It's a Real Madrid team that has taken some restructuring here through the years. And Mönchengladbach is capable of goals. Players there. Thuram is a good player. Hoffmann. They've got fullbacks that can go forward. I believe that's where Ben Sebaini is, right?
Yep. Steve's predicting Inter to crash out in the group stages.
But Mönchengladbach can concede goals too. That's the issue with them. I mean, I think that they're going to have some of the more entertaining games in the group. This will be Group B as a whole, it'll be entertaining because all 4 teams are going to bring something to the table and make it a challenge. But I think there's going to be plenty of goals in the group as well, as is Group D with Liverpool, Ajax, Atalanta, and Michelin.
My goodness.
Michelin can play.
Yeah.
These guys
for them to play against these 3 teams.
They tore apart Slavia Prague in the qualifier in the second leg, 4-1. And they got those 4 goals in the space of, I think, 12 minutes.
Wow.
Slavia were dancing and on their way to the and this is a Slavia Prague team that pushed Inter around a couple times in a couple of games last year. So, and a lot of those guys. Ajax is not what they've been in the last couple of years because a lot of those guys have moved on. You don't have De Jong, you don't have De Ligt, you don't have Ziyech, and some of these other folks, but they always find a way to reload.
Exactly.
Never you still have Tadic there. I think Neres is still there.
It's like Atalanta now. They get rid of some players, but they
right.
breed some new players, and then boom,
Right. You have Tagliafico.
Yeah.
So there's enough to make this. There's enough to make this difficult.
Davy Klaassen came back, so a little bit age there to help them with the midfielder. So yeah.
Did he come back from? He came back from Werder then.
Werder Bremen, yeah.
So okay. All right. So, and then you got Lazio. I think Lazio is going to struggle in this group. I think going to Russia and playing at Zenit is going to be difficult. Dortmund are free scoring right now.
My goodness.
Much to your chagrin.
Yeah.
And Club Brugge is one of those teams that you don't think anything of, but they're tricky. Going there's not going to be fun. You'll probably get your 3 points against them at home. But I can't see Lazio qualifying from Group F. I think Dortmund's actually going to win that group with Zenit finishing second.
Yeah. I think it's going to come down to Zenit and Lazio. It's going to be difficult for them, depending on what the results are against that team in particular. Dortmund, I think, is going to win that group, like you said. They're just going to run over everybody.
I think Inter are going to get out of Group B, and I'm going to get Atalanta out of Group D. I mean, Ajax might find guys to replace the ones that made the big money moves, but they're not the Ajax team that eliminated Juve 2 years ago. It's not a team that Atalanta is going to fear. And right now, in the form that they're in, I would take Atalanta over Ajax.
Atalanta might win that group.
Yep. I don't know. I mean, the one thing that they will have going for is that Liverpool's game doesn't travel particularly well. They lose European games.
Aston Villa. Let that sink in.
Yeah, I know. And our Aston Villa friends in the football group over on Facebook were all excited about it. And so. And then I think Juve and Barcelona are a cinch to get out of Group G. I think that's going to be pretty straightforward, even though going to Dinamo Kiev is never fun.
Nope.
Ferencvaros, I saw bits and pieces of in the qualifying rounds. I'm not wasn't overly impressed with them. So that's what I think is going to be the fortunes. I think Juventus, Atalanta, and Inter all go through. I think Lazio is going to probably end up back in the Europa League.
Yeah, they're going to be the closest of the 4 teams. They're going to be the closest to not make it.
Yep, for sure.
On to Europa League?
On to Europa League. Let's name those groups off.
The first Italian team is in Group A. It's Roma, and they got Young Boys, Siska Sofia, and Cluj. Okay, group there. The next Italian team is Napoli. They got Akmar, Rijeka, who'd won in that. They had that crazy goal in that game that won. Where 2 players collided with each other.
Goal against Copenhagen.
Yeah, so they're playing them, and they're also playing Real Sociedad. So you can never discount the Spanish team. They always turn up for these tournaments. That's a pretty good group. Akmar just had a great game this weekend, where it was like 4-4 or something. I think it was the end of that result there. So next Italian team, Milan, in a difficult group in my opinion. They play Celtic, Lille, and Sparta Prague. Sparta Prague gave Inter trouble last year.
Slavia Prague did. So.
Oh, Slavia Prague. Sparta Prague still going to be a pain for them. And that's it, I think. Yep. That's all the teams. So of the 3 groups, Milan, I think, has the toughest, followed by Napoli, even though I think Napoli got that group. And then Roma has the easiest of the 3.
Yeah, Milan's definitely in the toughest group out of these 3. It's although I will argue that Napoli's group is not that far off From
the good
Group
teams
H.
in there.
Actually, and I almost might even make the case that Napoli's group is tougher. I mean, everybody looks at Celtic, and once you get past the brand name,
They're good at home though. That's it.
They're not great. I mean, they were eliminated by Ferencvaros very, very early in the UEFA Champions League. So Lille is going to give you some problems. I mean, this is where Osimhen came from. This is where Leao came from. Nicola Pepe. These are they're one of those teams that find a way to take guys and turn them into gems. So that it's the next gems waiting in line. That it's going to probably create some issues. Sparta Prague going there is always going to be difficult. I actually think that, and I'm not trying to do this as a Milan supporter, but I actually think Napoli's group's a little bit tougher. I mean, Rijeka aside, outside Alkmaar can make life difficult for people.
Sociedad as well. Yeah.
Yep. So and Real Sociedad have an abundance of attacking talent.
Yeah.
That said, I think it would be a disappointment if all three of these Serie A teams don't qualify. From their group stage. Roma certainly has it a lot easier. Although look out for CFR Cluj. They've been a problem for team. They were a problem for Lazio just last year. So
I'm going to go on a limb and say all three Italian teams win their group. It's going to be tough, but I think all three win.
Well, the interesting thing with the Europa League is that you don't have to win your group.
Yep.
You can. I mean, whether you finish first or second is really not going to dictate a whole lot as far as the draw is concerned. Rafa thinks Napoli will steamroll the group. Watch out for Real Sociedad, Rafa. They've got enough talent. Where they're deficient is defensively.
Yep. As Alkmaar, same thing. They can score, but they got issues defensively as well.
Yeah, I mean they'll score. They have what they need to score with you guys. Yep. Okay, but defensively is where they can be deficient, and I think is where you can get at them. Like I said, Celtic is one of those where I believe it. Just once you get past the brand name, it's not something to be terribly impressed with. And I'm not being blasphemous when I say that. Sparta Prague and Lille, I think, we'll see what Sparta Prague have to offer. Slavia Prague was always a thorn. They were a thorn in Inter's side. So these Czech teams are decent. And then, like I said, and Lille always, they're producing the next guys up that they're going to make money off of. So they're going to be interesting groups overall, and ultimately it's going to be a disappointment if these three teams don't qualify. So
absolutely.
So we'll see what happens. So reaction to Champions League and Europa League draw, go to Serie A Sitdown on Twitter or Instagram and give us your predictions on how our teams are going to do. Italy squad, they have 3 games coming up. It looks like, if I'm reading this right, they're going to play Moldova in a friendly on Wednesday.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Okay. And then they're going to play Poland in Gdansk on Sunday, the 11th.
Yes.
And then they'll be in Bergamo to play Holland on the 14th. This is a pretty long FIFA break.
It is 2 weeks at least, right?
The 8 worst second-place teams draw the Champions League incoming teams drawing back to Europa. That's where it's significant, Rafa. After that, first or second, I mean, you're talking about, I think there's like 12 groups. So
yeah, that's crazy.
You definitely want to finish first. Finishing second doesn't totally hurt you. And then if you see some of these third-place teams that come down, we'll see what they're made of. So, but any event. Italy squad for the trip that Mancini called up: Alessio Cragno of Cagliari in goal, definitely deserved. Gianluigi Donnarumma of Milan, Marco Silvestri of Hellas Verona, well deserved. Salvatore Sirigu of Torino. Goalkeepers are straightforward.
Yep. No, they're fine. They're fine picks.
Yep. Let's move on. Defenders: Acerbi of Lazio, Cristiano Biraghi of Fiorentina, Leonardo Bonucci of Juventus, Giorgio Chiellini of Juventus, Danilo D'Ambrosio of Inter, Emerson of Chelsea for some reason. Florenzi of PSG for some reason, Lazzari of Lazio, Gianluca Mancini of Roma, Ogbonna of West Ham United. I actually don't hate it. And Leonardo Spinazzola of Roma. Any snubs?
I love that. I hope Spinazzola gets a start on this one just because he's been playing fantastic for Roma to begin with. But yeah, it's a fairly straightforward defense. Can't think of anyone off the top of my head that they would have missed who's healthy. So yeah, good. Hopefully we get to see Spinazzola play. That's all I'm asking.
Would you make a case for Faraoni, or does he feel like more of a midfielder? The problem is that he doesn't fit
midfielder. But yeah.
He'd have to be a fullback, and it'd have to work in a back four. I mean, he feels like he's just a true out and out right wing back, and it's going to be hard for him.
Yeah, but he should get it. I would like a call up. I think he's playing good enough to get a call up. I just don't know where he would fit.
Right. So, so we'll see what happens with that. I mean, that would be the one guy. Where's Gabbia? Stevie, Mancini's saving him for the big ones, okay? Mancini's saving him for the big ones.
Bring him in for Holland, unsurprisingly.
Yeah. Saving him for the World Cup, baby. Just wait. You wait. Maybe not 2022, maybe 2026. So
good point, Gianni.
Looking for good subs replacement right now with those 3 games, plus with some COVID, we're forced to find some gems in the rough. Yeah, fair enough. Midfielder is Nicola Barella. He's in great form right now. Giacomo Bonaventura of Fiorentina, Gaetano Castrovilli of Fiorentina, Brian Cristante of Roma, Jorginho of Chelsea, Manuel Locatelli of Sassuolo, well deserved, Lorenzo Pellegrini of Roma, Stefano Sensi of Inter, and Verratti of PSG. I can't think of anybody that got left out here.
I can't either. There's some good picks. I mean, some of the guys I was going to think of are actually in the forwards. So yeah, no, it's good. Good.
Yep. Finally, the attackers: Andrea Belotti of Torino, Domenico Berardi of Sassuolo, Francesco Caputo of Sassuolo, Federico Chiesa of Fiorentina. Well, now Juventus. Stefan El Shaarawy of, for some reason, he keeps bringing home El Shaarawy.
I don't know.
Vincenzo Grifo of Freiburg. What, isn't he hurt? He didn't play against Dortmund.
Yeah, I don't know if he's hurt or COVID. I don't know. Who knows what he has? But yeah, maybe he got called up before the. I think he got called up before that game. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe gonna be a final replacement for him.
Ciro Immobile of Lazio, Moise Kean of now PSG, Kevin Lasagna of Udinese, and Riccardo Orsolini of Bologna. Yeah, I agree, Stevie. Cristante shouldn't be in this team.
Lasagna either. He's been playing poor at the end of the season. I mean,
that's like a bureaucracy pick or something.
Yeah. And, I mean, I love the Orsolini pick, the Moise Kean pick. I love that one. El Shaarawy.
Love the Berardi pick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Caputo, obviously. Belotti and Immobile, no doubt about it. But yeah, Lasagna is head scratching for me. So, and then I like to call her Vincenzo Grifo, but if he's injured, you got to bring up somebody else, and who that is, I don't know.
I mean, Mancini plays 4-3-3. On the right side of that 4-3-3, I would like to see Berardi get run in one of these games, an extended run, and I would also like to get Orsolini in that role too.
Caputo needs to play one of these games.
And I'd love to see Caputo. Absolutely. Adriano, ciao.
Adriano, what's up, man? I think Caputo is the right fit for this team, but has to be proven first, right? So,
yeah, I agree. On El Shaarawy, I don't like it. Neither does
Steve.
But are there other players that, I mean, who could have gone in his place? I mean, I think that this would have been reserved for Insigne would have had a place in this team, but he's not in it.
Yeah.
So it's, you have to, some decisions had to be made, of course, that open the door for some people.
Is he on the team? Yeah, he's on the team.
Yeah, he's in the midfield.
Yeah, it's hard to say. No Bernardeschi. I don't know if he's injured or not, but I didn't see him on there.
And Bernardeschi, I will say this, has been okay for the national team. He's been awful for Juve.
Yes.
But he's turned up and been decent for the national team.
So. How about Lorenzo Colombo, huh? Too early to pick him?
Just a tick too early for Colombo. Give some young guys a shot, see what you have in the farm. Yeah, Gabbia.
How's Cutrone doing?
Cutrone, not getting. Is he not? I don't think he's getting games. Vlahovic has been starting.
Yeah, Vlahovic is a good player.
Yeah, so I don't mind the group. I think that when it comes to playing against the Netherlands, the best players will play in that game. The trip to Poland. I mean, I think you're going to see. I don't know if Mancini rotates this a whole lot. I think the Moldova game is where you're going to see a lot of these fringe guys play.
Yeah.
So The big questions are who plays in the fullback positions, because I think we're still trying to get those questions answered.
I still think we need to know who's going to play in the striker position. Immobile and Belotti have not taken the reins yet of that.
I want to see Caputo get some run.
I do too.
So-
I think if he gets in there, he's going to take it. Because he fits that system perfectly. That's what he's always plays, the 4-3-3, and Belotti and Immobile have failed to show that they can do that.
Agreed.
We'll see. It really, they have the midfield, no doubt about it.
Mhm.
They have the guys who can provide it. It's just what kind of strikers do. And then defensively, the Netherlands game is gonna be difficult. I mean, they got a new manager now. It's so we'll see what they can do, but that'll be the test. And I think you use those first 2 games to play some guys you have some you're curious about.
Yep.
And I think Caputo should be in one of those games to try out and see what he does.
Yep, I like it. So let's see what Mancini has up his sleeve, starting with the friendly against Moldova on Wednesday. So you guys have made it through an hour and 25 minutes of us blabbing, and now we're on to your favorite part of the podcast. It is everybody's favorite part of Calcio podcast everywhere around the world. Time to find out who won Calcio Twitter.
Boom, and it's on the screen for those to see. Haha.
We are loaded with nominees this week.
I love this one, the first one.
Everybody brought them in.
Uncle Sharma brought it for sure.
Uncle
Sharma's
Sharma's
first one. Uncle Sharma brought it. He says the Alonso Conte wants from Chelsea, and the Alonso they're going to get is Fernando Alonso, the Formula One driver.
Well done.
That's great.
Well done.
Let's see.
I'm going to go with, I'm going to read to you Connor Clancy, at Con J Clancy. I've seen a lot of people, having seen Timothy Castan start in England, wonder why he didn't play regularly for Atalanta. Hans Hateboer scored tonight, and on Saturday, Robin Gosens scored and assisted tonight. Imagine if a PL club had signed one of the good ones.
Exactly. Sign one of the starters, right? Oh, man. Let's see. The next one is... this one is so Around Torin posted this comment about Sarri, and it says Sarri's historical friend. Sarri will support Napoli. Blah blah blah. And it goes on to this whole comment, and then the real Daniel at D Russo 2235 says, "Oh gosh," it says, "What the heck? What the fuck does historical friend mean?" I don't know what a historical friend is. Frank, you're a historical friend for me, buddy.
We've known each other for 15 years now.
All of history, apparently.
Yeah, apparently all of history. So we're historical friends. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Let's see here. Let's read the one that's coming from Frank at Serie _Ost. Is that Alex Dono on the side of that truck? Now we know where the bath photo originates from.
It's on the screen. There you go.
Some things you will never unsee for as long as you live.
Goodness. Oh, my goodness.
That was a painful experience for everybody involved.
Yes. The next one, AC Milan reports the whole about Stefano Pioli called Chiesa in recent days to convince him to choose AC Milan. Obviously, he went to Juventus. So Giova at Romanesta says, going to Juve to sit on the bench with Costa, Bernardeschi, Kulashevsky, and Quadrado, on top of seeing what happened to all the Italian talents who were ruined at Juve. Good choice.
Yep. We'll see. I mean, if they're going to do this, they're going to get that one over the line. At the end of the day, what are you gonna? That's hard to. That's hard to figure what they're gonna do there. You think he's gonna play a little bit more. So, all right, big show at _Nerazzurri. This was during the Europa League on Thursday. Milan struggling to win against the street, but they have the best mid in Europe. They said. It's like, and then you had Art Morelli even saying this is much better trolling, to be fair.
Yeah. From Conte Biz at the DD away, he says, we're rocking up to Madrid with one of Perisic, Young, or Darmian as left wing back, and people expect us to win anything. Here's a good one.
Uncle Sharma trying to get back on the board. Rafael Leal de Lirao versus Rio Ave. Time slipped 12. Possession lost 11. Chances created 0. TikTok videos posted 2. Serie A has been warned.
I love the video too, or the picture, I should say. So, my goodness. Let's see. We already did that one. Historical friend. We talked about that one.
Brian
Rio
Johnson. We got Brian Johnson at Wise Old BHJ after Milan eliminated Rio Ave in the Europa League. Almost feel bad for Rio Avenue. Don't get promoted to street now.
Let's see. This one from Don Totti at Zaniolo_fan. He says, Romanisti enjoying the W while the rest of Calcio argue about the Juve Napoli situation. Oh, that's good. That's good.
I like that one.
Oh man,
I like that one. That was good. That was good. That one might be in the clubhouse for me right now. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see here.
Art Morelli?
Yes. Art Morelli submitting one from at OSV_Angelo e chi poteva essere.
And all it is a person crashed into a pole and he gets out in a Juventus jersey.
Yeah.
Is this Dybala or is this who's this from Juventus? At first you're just like, what? But you see the Juventus jersey, you're like, okay, of course.
Yep.
Oh man.
Let's see.
This one I like this one. It's from I'm trying to click on the picture. From at T._Tifosi. After Juventus put out their official lineup, the Napoli fans came out their official lineup. Starting at striker is T._Tifoso. Then you had you got all the players here. You got Rafa's in there in defense. Azzurri fan Phil's playing left back. Some of our fans here, I don't think Gianni made the lineup here. Looking at it, look at the bench. You got a bunch more players. Kenshiro Freddy's, Art Morelli's on the bench. I don't think Gianni. Did you make that list? I don't think you did, bud.
Johnny didn't make the list.
I don't think he did. a notable scratch, healthy scratch, maybe.
No, Pat failed a late fitness test.
Yeah, that's
Let's
right.
say that. Rafa Napoli as a center back. Rafa as a center back. I don't want to play forward against that. Oh man.
I nominated myself in this one. I had to because I felt like Frank and also Martino Puccio doing it recently. So I was like, I'm gonna do it myself. I said Calabria with the best opportunity of the first half. Unfortunately, his first goal of the season was denied by Donnarumma, who's used to his dumb fuckery.
Yeah, good stuff. Let's see. All right. This one from at Caserta Campagna. Think of that Barbie girl song. I'm not going to even try. I'm a Gobi boy in a Gobi world. Scudetti made of plastic. It's fantastic. Pirlo's perfect hair. We've lost finals everywhere. Imagination, European domination.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. How long it took him to come up with that? I don't know, but
well played.
Yeah.
At Daniele Luch. Daniel Lucci, Daniele Luch, DANIELELUCC. My sources are telling me they are bringing Gabriele Paletta out of retirement as he is the only player Lotito can afford with his leftover lunch money.
From Sky Sport Italia.
Yeah, even cited a source on that. Well done.
Yeah. Next one's from Michael Lisi. So our friend Adriano Del Monte came out with a tweet and said, Juventus confirmed Mattia De Scelio will leave the club. And Lisi replied, I can confirm he was never there. Zing.
Yeah, I like this one. All right. Well, I'm indirectly part of this next one. But at Real Don Agnelli. Once again, if you're a Calcio fan and you're not following that account, you're doing life wrong.
Right.
I should be honored, Mr. President, actually retweeted one of my tweets. I called Agnelli the Satan of Calcio. And he goes, thank you. Much like Santa, I love giving gifts to my Juventini.
That's good.
That's well played. So...
I want to get into the action. So someone tweeted a picture of The Simpsons, and it says Pozzo negotiating a deal with himself, and then Gab says real-time coverage of the negotiation between Udinese and Watford over Deulofeu.
Yeah, and then I see that you've got Siavush, who was a contender who has a winner of mine last week in the comments of that, replying about the two Spider-Mans pointing at each other too. So So that's that one's good all the way around.
George, who's on the chat, he said, Cagliari during the transfer window overall. We suck at this game.
So many to choose from, man.
Chat,
Man,
what do
everybody.
you say? What do you say, chat?
Yeah, where's our chat? Rafa, that wins. Which one did you pick that one?
There's so many good ones.
I'm torn between Zaniolo fan and Caserta Campagna. I think those are my two finalists.
I do like the Napoli one where they put their own lineup against Juventus.
Not bad.
Pretty creative. I do like the Roma one for sure. There's so many good ones.
Gobi girl. Yeah, I'm with Rafa. Caserta Campagna is my winner.
Yeah, I like the Roma one also. Yeah, let's get some votes and let the votes decide here because
or we just say co-winners.
Yeah, co-winners. Hey, there you go. Boom, done.
We can do a shared. Do you believe in co-winners, or do we have to pick a winner? Adriano saying the Roma dancing one. Johnny is saying the Roma. George is saying the drunken Juve driver. Raphael is saying Gobi girl.
Yeah, that's some good ones.
There were some good ones this week.
There were good ones. A lot of ones. That's really good. So
well played. Man, I don't know. The Gobi girl is funny.
yeah, that was good. That was really good.
All right, sure. Co-winners. Johnny's good with co-winners. Yeah, let's do co-winners. Okay, so we have a tie this week for who won Calcio Twitter. At Caserta Campagna. I'm a Gobi boy in a Gobi world. Scudetti made of plastic. It's fantastic. Pirlo's perfect hair. We've lost finals everywhere. Imagination, European domination. Just think of that old Barbie girl song and go along with that. That's what it was. So, and then Zaniolo fan. Romanisti enjoying their W while the rest of Calcio Twitter argue about the Juve Napoli situation. You just see this fire in the back.
Just the mascot. It's just dancing around with the drum. Oh, that's awesome.
Although you missed when I retweeted a post about Villa trouncing Liverpool with a gif of VVD laughing.
I did miss that.
Probably because it was more Premier League than Calcio, but yeah, I mean technicalities. So that's fantastic. Yeah. All right. So at Zaniolo _fan and at Caserta Campagna, congratulations. You won Calcio Twitter.
Yeah, absolutely.
And with that, we're going to put a bow on this edition of Serie Sit Down. Shameless plug time, Richard.
Yeah. Well, you can find me anywhere at R_KHARMAN. And also, I had the video ready to put out there. Our next video. I just got busy, so it's coming out probably the next day or so.
Yep. I'm at FTC _21, as you can see here. Serie Sit Down. You can find us. We have our own channel on Apple Podcasts. We have our own channel on SoundCloud. We're on Stitcher. We're on Spotify. We're on iHeartRadio. Wherever you find podcasts, you can find Serie Sit Down. Richard and Frank, legends. That's goddamn right, Raf. Appreciate it. Thanks for the love.
Check out the Far from Vesuvius.
Yes,
podcast.
Far from Vesuvius. We'll
done.
drop in the next couple of days, but keep the volume down and keep it away from the kids.
Yeah, earmuffs.
Fair warning. So, at Serie Sit Down on Twitter, at Serie Sit Down on Instagram. Drop comments, anything that you want to suggest for future podcasts, etc., etc. We'd be happy to take those up. We're also on Facebook. Check us out there too. How are we doing in the podcast Scudetto prediction? Like not great. We got the Roma game right, but we got the Benevento Bologna game wrong. So
it'll be a strong comeback.
Yep, we're lying in the weeds. We're going to let everybody else get a head start.
That's right.
Chat, brilliant. Thank you, boys.
Thank you.
Great work. Thanks for chiming in and helping us to make this fun. We will be back. We will be back next week, possibly to break down what happened between Italy and Poland, and
why not?
And look at Italy, Netherlands. So we'll have some things to talk about as we go. So, and then also we gotta preview the derby. So
yeah, that's a big game.
Milan and Inter. Big Z should be back by then. So does anybody call him Big Z or no?
No.
Ibra.
Cut us off.
Listen, I mean, it's better than Jimmy Kimmel wanting to call him the Swedish fish. That bullshit from a few years ago.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But anyway, all right, I'll back off. But anyway, so chat, thank you very much. Thank you all for listening. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe, drop a like. We're going to throw in extra content, Big Z. We will now. Look what I started. But anyway, thank you. Yep. Forza Gabia. Thank you all for listening. And as always, be sure to tell your paisans about us. Ciao.